In the last tutorial we created a train, and I got a lot of requests from you to also create the train station that I showed in that video. But since I saw this render in May time, which really inspired me, I wanted to use the train we created and achieve a similar foggy atmosphere. I ended up having two renders with a train station, and I asked you help. The majority voted for the second render. And here we are. A 4-hour step-by-step tutorial has been recorded, and this video will be a short breakdown with a few tips. The process of creating a scene should start with unblocking the scene and setting up the camera. Using tools like F-Spy, you can precisely copy the perspective from the image, but my goal was not to create an identical recreation of the image, but to try achieve the similar atmosphere and lighting in Blender. That's why I didn't use F-Spy, but estimated the dimensions of walls and objects by eye, as well as the camera settings and distance. I usually put the camera at the eye level, but this time I went low, down to 1 meter. The x-axis is always around 90 degrees. The camera turned out to be panoramic 27mm focal length. All that remained was to place all the elements I wanted in the frame. If you use a panoramic camera, the selection in the render viewport will not match. To fix this, it is necessary to set the same focal length in the perspective camera. Now, when you go back to panoramic, the selection will match. As you can see, even though we have a model of the train from before, the train will pretend to be a regular square of similar dimensions for as long as possible in order to unnecessarily slow down the render and viewport. I set the viewport render to only 10 samples because every time I make any change, Blender renders from the beginning. If this number is higher, you will probably be familiar with this sound. I used a boolean modifier for the tunnel and added a few details. Given that won't be visible in the fog, this is too much details. To make it easier to model, with the numpad / key you can isolate only the objects you need. You can find the option under View, Local View, Toggle Local View. For the rails, I found this reference image. I modeled the plane following the reference and later extruded. Considering how visible it is, this is too much details. The concrete part is also a low poly model created quickly. Considering how visible it is, I don't know why I do it. Real world dimensions are sometimes important, so it is good to include BART as well. I found an image of this retro train stopper that could fit nicely in the ambience. Since it consists of two almost identical sides, I used the mirror modifier. The mirror modifier used the origin point as the split point. You can move the origin point to the right to specify the spacing. Now I can go to side view and model the basic shape. It is important to be in wireframe mode, considering that it is a cube and not a plane. I get a circular part with the help of loop tool, and the double eye for insert individual faces help me to get a lot of details quickly. Wires are an important element of this scene. It is important to estimate the right thickness. I also use reference image for more details. For lighting, I use volumetric cube with a bluish color and bright enough lights that can break through the fog. Orange color always goes great in combination with blue. I added an area lamp that illuminated the train nicely, but also the wall in the background. which I don't want. To prevent this, I set a black no specular plane to control the light. Concrete and metal cover most of the scene, so I decided to make two collages with the texture of concrete and metal. I got roughness and bump from the same texture. I added some random lines to the concrete part to get more details and shadow. For the tiles on the floor, I was looking to something a little better because it is close to the camera. I tried several options and the tiles from the Polygon add-on fit well. I don't have the paid version, so I was only looking for free shaders. The shaders has a lot of customization options, so I changed some settings until I was satisfied. I added some real geometry to the tiles to make them look destroyed and some cracks overlays. Details such as mesh I created simply with the help of wireframe modifier and the pipes using the cylinder and spin tool. Spin tool is a great tool for creating pipes. When using the spin tool, it is important to select the edges you want to spin and choose the axis along which it will spin. With the shift and right click, set the origin around which it will spin, and that's it. If you stick to these three rules, the spin tool is simple and fun. With Ctrl R for loop cut, Ctrl B for bevel, Alt T for extrude along normals, you can add details to pipes in seconds. I decided not to use external assets. When I already went too far with copying the composition from poor people, I wanted at least all the models to be my own. I closed the asset browser and started modeling everything from scratch and collecting my assets from before. A few days later we have big structures, small Greebles, trash, neon signs, pharmacy, ground and of course the train. Finally, I have everything I need to complete the scene and it's all mine. From now on Patreon you can find an annual subscription option with a discount. You can unlock all my past tutorials and assets as well as all content I will create in the next 12 months. In the description there is also a link to my Blender Market store. In a few days there will be a summer sale. Let's go back to the big structures. I created a package of 15 assets with the help of Google Maps. I will probably make a separate video about this. Subscribe if you want to know more. The small Greebles asset pack is mainly related to the railways. Considering that there is a railroad near me, I went to take pictures of some textures. After hard modeling, about 10 beautiful models turned out. And one ugly. That ugly one turned out to be the most useful, it fit in wherever I put it. About neon signs, I have a full video on my channel. I also made photoscans of the ground in the same area to make it fit as well as possible. I took about 20 photos with my mobile phone and inserted them into reality capture. After a few minutes I got this. At first I thought it was a bug, then I realized that it wasn't bug but something that you can expect with the reality capture. But I didn't give up. I exported this as FBX and opened in Blender. First I deleted 90% of the mesh with decimate geometry and merged by distance, then manually the parts that are not useful. Using the front, left, right orthographic view, I aligned the parts of the model. After that, I added the plane and rotate the edge in the ground so that I could fit them into each other later when duplicating. All that remains is to do the most important part, convert the 8K PNG texture of a few hundred megabytes into a 2K JPEG texture of 2 megabytes so that this doesn't happen. I ended up with something I can use. It is time to put something in the background. It is not really logical for a pharmacy to be in an abandoned station, but given how visible it is, we could have put in anything. It is important that something happen in background and that there are nice lights. These posters can glow if mixed with an emission node, which will give us more details. I took the photo of the pharmacy while walking around the city and I talk about the modeling techniques in my 2 videos. I combined the photoscans of the trash I created a long time ago with the new ground asset. I blended it nicely with the ground so it looked like a pebbles. Finally the train arrives. I fixed the lights, added a reddish color and an anamorphic lens flare to make it look more cinematic. I added a few lights to the place where the area lamp is, so that the people don't wonder where the light is coming from, and that's it. Okay, not quite everything, but who will put everything in just 10 minutes? If you are interested in the post-processing part and some other details, in the description you can find the whole tutorial suitable for beginners, as well as the tutorial where we model the train and 12 other step-by-step tutorials. Of course, all assets package listed in this video and many others as well as project files are available on Patreon or YouTube join link.